This video is in collaboration with Aisha Love, Gino5577, and Eurotorian. Read the description below to check out their Reddit accounts, YouTube channels, and other cool projects. Thank you to all of them for contributing their ideas. The Pappas games are some of the most beloved games of this generation. They're fun, challenging, and almost always hilarious to play, but underneath it all hides a dark secret. Over the years, people who haven't skipped over the beginning stories of the Pappas games have noticed Papa Louie's questionable at best and downright immoral/unethical at worst methods into getting people to work for his various different shops. In this video, I want to document all of Papa Louie's crimes and perhaps analyze his behavior regarding his employees. First, let's take a look at each intro individually. In Papa's Pizzeria, the protagonist Roy already starts out as an employee for Papa Louie. He comes into the pizzeria one day to find that Papa Louie has left him a note saying, "Roy, time for another adventure. Run the pizzeria while I'm gone. Papa Louie." Papa Louie abandoned Roy to go on an adventure while also forcing him to run the pizzeria all by himself. This is worse considering that Roy's primary job is being a delivery man and is now expected to do all the jobs at the pizzeria, which I'm sure Papa Louie decided not to train him for before leaving. This is the first instance of Papa Louie's behavior of carelessness, lack of consideration, and selfishness. Leaving your entire business suddenly in the hands of one person who most likely has no idea how to run it is horrendously unfair. Roy's mental, emotional, and physical health must have taken a toll due to these actions. In Papa's Burgeria, Rita is the lucky winner of a so-called prize given away to her by Papa Louie. The prize isn't specified, but when Rita gets to the location her ticket told her to go to, she ends up meeting Papa Louie and Roy. Papa Louie looks delighted to meet her, while Roy looks with fear in his eyes as he knows what's about to happen next. Papa Louie pulls out a worker's uniform with Rita's name, and it's now revealed that her prize was to be forced to work for Papa Louie at his Burgeria. Usually a prize is beneficial to the person receiving it, and so forcing someone into a job they did not want or ask for is a terrible prize. Papa Louie absolutely used deception tactics to lure Rita into working for him. This was never a prize for her, but it definitely was a prize for him. In Papa's Taco Mia, Maggie enters a taco eating contest. She out-eats all the other contestants and wins first place. She gets a trophy and all is good, but of course Papa Louie has other plans and once again forces Maggie to work for him as her prize. Now, even though the story claims that Maggie wins the entire Taco Mia, I feel like that doesn't change anything, as at the end of the day, Papa Louie still gets a significant cut from the Taco Mia's profits, as it's still his franchise. And note, nobody is happy about winning these restaurants, not Maggie nor Rita. This is the third game in the series, and I think we can sort of get a feel for how Papa Louie tends to hire his employees, with deception and manipulation. In Papa Louie's Freezeria, Penny starts out as a new employee before the game starts. The moment Papa Louie is done showing her the Freezeria for the first time, he once again abandons her with no remorse and leaves her to run the entire shop as a new employee. Also, another sinister detail is in one of the advertisements for the Freezeria. It states workers are responsible for all shop upgrades. So Papa Louie has all of this money he's sitting on from treating his workers unethically, and yet he still expects employees to take money out of their wages and tips to make upgrades to his shop. This only shows that he's happy to exploit his employees' labor and money to the fullest. Honestly, the situation in Papa's Pancakeria makes me laugh with how ridiculous it is. Prudence loses her dog at the pizzeria. Papa Louie calls her wanting to return her lost dog, and when she goes to the location that Papa Louie requested her to be, she finds a note left by him saying, "Prudence, Pickle really likes it here in the Pancakeria. I need a favor too. Run the shop while I'm gone. Papa Louie." So you're telling me that Papa Louie basically guilt trips this random woman into working for him by luring her with the promise of getting her dog back and the flimsy excuse that the dog likes it in the Pancakeria. Words can't describe how wrong this is. Papa's Wingeria shows Papa Louie's awful behavior at its finest. Papa Louie shows up to Mandy's doorstep saying that she won an all-expense-paid trip to Starlight City. Sounds amazing, right? Well, we should know better than this by now. Mandy goes on the trip and spins a slot machine that Papa Louie owns himself. She wins the mega prize, and guess what? The mega prize is once again her being forced into employment at Papa Louie's Wingeria. Papa's Hot Doggeria is rather unique in the sense that Peggy, the protagonist, decides for herself that she wants to work at the Hot Doggeria in order to watch the baseball game that she wasn't able to get tickets for due to all of them being sold out. Due to Peggy's choice to work there, we can only assume that she's somewhat prepared and comfortable in this kind of job, as she seems not to be worried when Papa Louie gives her the keys to the Hot Doggeria while he goes off and watches the baseball game himself. At face value, nothing's wrong. But as Eurotorian and Gino555 speculate, there might be a level of orchestration of events leading up to the hiring of these employees done by Papa Louie himself. If that's the case, the level of evil Papa Louie is willing to go through to get people to work for him is astounding. In Papa's Cupcakeria, it seems like Roy has Papa Louie's behavior rub off on him. He and Papa Louie drive to the newly approved Cupcakeria when all of a sudden Willow, the protagonist, hits their car. Understandably, Roy is angry about this, but what's not so understandable is that Roy demands upfront payment in cash for the damage to the car without any consideration for the fact that most people don't carry around huge amounts of cash with them, and of course the most obvious one, insurance. Meanwhile, Papa Louie isn't mad. He looks somewhat happy even. He pulls out a stack of cash out of nowhere, pays Roy to fix the damage on the car, and then literally hires Willow on the spot to run his entire Cupcakeria on her own to basically pay him back. Papa Louie really decided to use his guilt-tripping tactics to force Willow, a young woman who may or may not be feeling rather stressed considering she had a minor car accident moments ago, into working a job she never asked for. The pleasure Papa Louie feels the moment he realizes he could use this small tragedy as one of his hiring events is low-key sickening. In Papa's Pizzeria, Utah is invited to a wedding in Portellini. When she tries to find a hotel room specifically for the springtime, there are 0 results, but when she switches to the any season option, she finds one room available at Papa's Pizzeria. She books the room and then gets sent a package with an employee handbook and uniform. Once again, Papa Louie has hired someone through the use of deceptive and probably even illegal in this case practices. Utah paid for a hotel room, not a job. Besides, how does the Pizzeria even qualify as a hotel in this case? All Utah wanted was a place to stay for the joyous occasion of a wedding, and now she has to pay for working a 4th job and living at the Pizzeria. I notice here that there are indeed a set of terms and conditions given to the person before they reserve a room, but even terms and conditions cannot protect Papa Louie from doing something so outright unethical. Paying a place that forcefully employed you to work there is absolutely absurd to say the least. If there's any proof that Papa Louie orchestrates how he hires his employees, then it's definitely in Papa's Donuteria. Scooter willingly takes a job at the Donuteria in order to get special privileges to an amusement park type attraction that she's been excited to ride. Literally, the moment she steps foot on that ride, it completely breaks down and has to be closed for an entire year. That's way too targeted towards Scooter for it to merely be coincidental, so it makes me believe that Papa Louie 100% has something to do with it, as not even a minute later he shows up to happily tell her that it's now time for her to work at the Donuteria while completely ignoring the fact that this young person is clearly disappointed with the events that transpired before her very eyes. In Papa's Pizzeria, Scarlett and her band are set to play at the Pizzeria during opening night, and keep note that this means that Papa Louie is supposed to be paying them for their services as musicians. Scarlett arrives and goes inside the Pizzeria to greet Papa Louie, but when she comes back out, all of her band's equipment and instruments are stolen. It's honestly tragic, right? Wrong, because they end up finding all the stolen equipment being sold at a nearby store. Papa Louie, somebody who can back her up and testify that those equipments belong to her, offers her a job at his Pizzeria so that she can buy her own stolen equipment back instead of just calling the proper authorities to deal with the situation. It was well within Papa Louie's power to be able to help Scarlett, seeing that not only can he verify Scarlett's belongings as hers, but also the fact that the shop selling the stolen equipment is probably on the same street as the Pizzeria. This honestly feels like another one of Papa Louie's plans that he orchestrated. Just like what happened at the Donuteria, how is it possible that the people he forces to work for him always end up having the worst of luck right at the moment they arrive? Gino5577 made an extremely good point that Papa Louie hires all of his employees himself personally rather than delegating that job to someone like a hiring manager. Hi everybody, it's me while editing. I didn't realize up until this point that another user, Magic Orcat, has helped tremendously on this script and on the original post that this script is based off of, so I really wanted to give them a shout out and a thank you. I will be mentioning them in the description below, so please check them out, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. In Papa's Bakeria, Cecilia applies for a job at a dance studio at Whisker View Mall. Unfortunately, when she arrives, she finds that the dance studio has shut down for good. As Magic Orcat states, now without a job, Cecilia sits on a bench being depressed. Papa Louie takes advantage of their emotional state and makes them work at the bakeria. I honestly couldn't have put it better myself. Although Papa Louie didn't do anything illegal, I think it's a testament to his exploitative business practice of hiring those who are specifically having a difficult or weaker period of time. As Magic Orcat suggested, it would be much easier to manipulate them into working for him as they are already in a very distraught emotional state. In fact, Papa Louie literally creeps behind Cecilia as she sits heartbroken over the loss of the job she wanted. In Papa's Pizzeria, Clover wins and gets a tour of the Pizzeria as a prize in one of his giveaways. Unfortunately, she trips over and breaks Papa Louie's lucky waving cat statue. She comes back on opening day to find that the Pizzeria was lacking customers and determines it's because she broke the lucky waving cat. So Papa runs off to find a new lucky waving cat, leaving Clover, a person with zero experience at a job at the Pizzeria, in charge. Thank you to Magic Orcat for writing this beautiful summary of what happened in Papa's Pizzeria. Furthermore, I'd like to add that this situation really shows how Papa Louie can turn a situation that's specifically against him into something that benefits him deeply at the cost of another person. This just proves that he uses his immoral methods whenever and wherever he can apply them. In Papa's Scooperia, Coily comes to the metropolis of Onion Town to explore, sightsee, and be a tourist around the city. She ecstatically takes pictures and buys souvenirs. Unfortunately, all the hotels and motels she comes across have no vacancy. Seemingly, her only option is a building that says room for rent and a man dressed in a hotel uniform. She gives all of her belongings to the hotel man and then stays for the night in this room. As she's sleeping, this hotel man runs off with all of her money and belongings. It's then revealed when the room for rent sign falls off that it's actually the building where Papa's Scooperia is being built. When Coily wakes up the next morning, she realized what happened and goes down to tell Papa Louie, who's directing those who are building the Scooperia, the situation. And in the famous words of Magic Orcat, Papa Louie comes back with the emotional manipulation and forces them to work for the Scooperia. This entire situation feels even worse knowing that Coily is a tourist and not someone who already lives in this city. She probably has a home/life to get back to, but now she can't because she's being forced into employment by Papa Louie. The fact that Papa Louie didn't even seem a little bit concerned about Coily's tragic situation and instead was obviously feeling an immeasurable amount of joy knowing that she'd be his next victim is telling of his manipulative and careless ways, to say the least. Papa's Mocheria's hiring event is incredibly dark. Alan signs up to be a worker at Papa's Mocheria and even gets hired by Papa Louie himself. No surprise there. I'm sure he wanted to have this job for all of these benefits listed in this advertisement, but as we all know, something sinister lurks within it. As soon as Alan signs the contract, he sees that people with cameras are recording him, and it's then revealed that not only is he going to be working at the Mocheria, but he's also going to be forced to be a part of a documentary he was never told verbally about. This all feels horrendously illegal. It's not enough for Papa Louie to exploit his employees by making them work for him, but it's obvious through Papa's Mocheria that he's now expanding to other ventures, all in which he uses his employees as pawns to make even more money than he already has. Now that we discussed the crimes of Papa Louie specifically in the intro stories, let's take a dive into the implications, conclusions, and theories that those who contributed to this video and I came up with. The never-ending cycle of Papa Louie and his franchises. Theory by me. One of the most notable characteristics of Papa Louie's shop is that his employees and customers are one and the same. Every time Papa Louie opens a new shop, he hires a previous younger customer from his last. If you notice closely, Papa Louie does not hire older customers that visit his shop, such as Wally or Big Polly. He only ever goes for young men, women, and presumably teenagers, and honestly, his reasoning behind it is quite obvious. Younger people are easier to manipulate, especially knowing that they may have less knowledge about the employment world in general and are more prone to be in vulnerable/unstable positions emotionally and financially. Of course, we all know that all previous customers come back to every one of his new shops regardless of its location or what food it's serving. This also has me wondering why exactly Papa Louie's customers are like this. There could be many possible explanations, to be honest. He's a great manipulator, and it wouldn't surprise me if he used the same tactics that he uses on his employees on his customers as well. With all of that being said, Papa Louie is a straight-up criminal genius with the system he put in place for himself. He has a never-ending supply of customers, which also means he has a never-ending supply of employees. This repeated cycle he's built makes it so that he will never run out of people he can forcefully hire, and it also means he will always have vulnerable people that he already manipulated beforehand as a customer at his disposal. Papa Louie keeps his franchises, his shops, and his income alive by being able to exploit his customers, future employees, for every last dollar they're worth, and then some. And honestly, this now makes me question a lot of things, such as how much control over these people's lives does Papa Louie truly have? Papa Louie and his right-hand man Roy are running from the law. Theory by Gino5577. So Papa Louie is always the last person you meet. Why? Does he want to see if you're reliable enough to run the location while he goes to another location and finds someone to work at the nearest location through any means necessary? Maybe he's avoiding the law due to how he hires people. After the first game, Roy and Papa Louie are together. They're at every restaurant, but the thing is, who is running the pizzeria? Simple, his sister is. Joy is Roy's sister. Joy is also known as Ninjoy. She first appeared in the to-go version. There's only one employee at every location. You can't run a business with one employee. Therefore, the law closed it down and are trying to arrest them. There could be stuff in the food that killed some people. What if Papa Louie and Roy are avoiding the law after the pizzeria closed down? Roy isn't in the new game as a customer. Did he get caught by the police and is now in jail? My final conclusion is that Papa Louie stages each event to get more workers so that he can continue to get paychecks that the workers are supposed to receive, even going as far as to betray Roy so that he can get away and continue opening more locations. Papa Louie is ruining the economy due to his not-so-subtle monopoly. Theory by Aisha Love. First and most obviously, Papa Louie lets complete amateurs handle food which can be dangerous, as showcased most poignantly by the Sushiria serving unagi, also known as eel, which has poisonous blood. It seems to be cooked, however, if mishandled, there could be deadly consequences. The fact that Papa Louie's restaurants normally start with you working in the day and ending at night, it's possible you're being paid below minimum wage, the exception being if you only worked less than 3 hours a day. See Papa's Freezeria as an example. Your weekly pay is only about $120 at the beginning of the game, depending on service that day. This checks out with you being listed as a part-time employee, but you are definitely working underpaid overtime, with your character being encouraged by the game to decorate the shop and advertise other Papa Louie locations. With your main source of income coming from Papa Louie and not tips, is clearly a very hostile work environment, which Papa Louie is not legally allowed to ignore. They clearly have a monopoly since customers from other games frequently visit various Papa Louie locations, suggesting they're all near each other. Papa Louie clearly holds power in the food market in whatever region these restaurants reside in. We also see customers paying tips, but we never see them pay anything else, suggesting they give all of their food away for free. This is clearly predatory pricing. Papa Louie is the ultimate puppet master. Theory by Eurotorian. If Louie did steal Pickle, Prudence's dog, and have come to the conclusion that he did in some way steal the doggo, in your post is stated that she lost Pickle at the pizzeria, which is a part of Louie's culinary empire. It's no wonder he'd disappear in a possibly crowded pizzeria, and he's a small dog. Pickle looks like a Yorkshire Terrier, so it would be easy for someone to pick him up and take him away without much notice. Plus, the fact that he turned up in the Pancakeria owned by the man himself, Mr. Louie, just ramps up the suspicion. Papa Louie might have not taken Pickle himself, as he's a world-famous chef, but I bet it's not off the table for the lengths he'd go to. Going over all of our theories, it's clear to see that Papa Louie runs a criminal empire. As disturbing as that might be for some of you, for me personally, it makes the games all the more fun to play. Thank you to everybody who watched this video, and a huge shout out to Aisha Love, Gino5577, Eurotorian, and Magic Orcat for allowing me to relay their concepts to you guys. Once again, please check out the description below to see all of their amazing profiles and work. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.